11 games into the NBA season, the Boston Celtics sit at 9-2 and a half game back of the first seed in the Eastern Conference. During the offseason, they made 2 different trades to bolster their lineup going forward and become even stronger contenders for the NBA championship. During the last 2 years, they've made the Eastern Conference Finals or better and even made it to the NBA Finals in 2022 before losing to the Golden State Warriors in 6 games. So far in their careers, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown haven't been able to get over the hump and win an NBA championship despite being one of the best duos in the NBA. But if they are ever going to win a championship, this is their year to do it. They were able to bring Kristaps Porzingis and Jrue Holiday in the offseason and were able to maintain a solid 6-man rotation at the top of their lineup, as well as some key younger pieces at the bottom of it. So far this season, they have 5 guys averaging over 10 points a game, and actually all of those guys are averaging 12 or more as well. And that doesn't even factor in Al Horford and the impact that he's made this season, as he's averaging only 4.9 points a game, but also grabbing 6 rebounds a game and averaging 2.1 assists a game as well. Sitting at the top of their lineup, they have Jason Tatum averaging his 28.5 points a game, 8.9 rebounds and 3.9 assists, as well as a steal and a bit per game. Jaylen Brown is next in team scoring at 23 points a game. He's averaging 5 rebounds a game and 3 assists, as well as playing solid defense. And Kristaps Porzingis, Jrue Holiday, and Derek White are all scoring the ball effectively, with Kristaps scoring about 20 a game, and then Jrue Holiday scoring 13, and finally Derek White at 12.5. All of these guys are also rebounding very solidly, and if you look at their starting 5, outside of Derek White, all of these guys are averaging over 5 rebounds a game. And if you look at Al Horford and put him in that top 6 range, 5 of their 6 top players are averaging 5 or more rebounds a game. At 48.2 rebounds a game as a team, they're actually sitting first in rebounding this season, which come playoff time and as they're making a deep late season stretch, rebounding will be such an important factor when it comes to beating other teams. And when it comes to offensive rebounding, Jrue Holiday is actually averaging 2 offensive rebounds a game, as well as Kristaps Porzingis averaging 1.3 and Al Horford averaging 1.9 offensive rebounds a game. Even Peyton Pritchard is averaging a offensive rebound and a half a game, and these extra possessions will come in crucial when it comes to a deep playoff run. And the fact that they have so many guys averaging solid points per game averages, even Sam Hauser is averaging 9.6 points per game off the bench in only 19.5 minutes. When you can have burst scorers off the bench like Hauser and a guy like Peyton Pritchard who's averaging even around 5 points a game, you have a lot of more flexibility and options when it comes to scoring. And if one of your top players, for example Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown, is having an off game, you can bring in a guy off the bench and have that burst scoring and give you that juice off the bench. And with this team, they're such a solid defensive team that if you bring in a guy that's purely a scorer off the bench, like a Peyton Pritchard or a Sam Hauser, both of which who aren't terrible defenders either, you will not lose a lot of defense because you will always have at least 3 to 4 guys on the court who can defend at all times. If you look at their top 6 players in Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kristaps Porzingis, Jrue Holiday, Derek White, and Al Horford, all of these guys can defend and can defend the pick and roll. Jrue Holiday and Derek White have been nominated for all defensive team awards before. And Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, as the stars of the team, are not just offensive stars, but can play solid defense as well and are above average to elite defenders as well. So to have a lot of guys who can score the ball offensively, as well as guys who can guard 1 through 5 and even off the bench, this team is probably the most well-rounded team and the deepest team in the entire league. You have 6 guys who can defend and score, and then you have another 2 or 3 guys off the bench who can give you spot scoring when you need it. And also Peyton Pritchard is a solid playmaker for a guy off the bench, averaging about 3.5 assists a game in 20.5 minutes per game. So seeing these guys off the bench really blossom as solid playmakers and solid scorers is really encouraging for the Boston Celtics as a team, because even though you have 6 guys at the top who are solid scorers and can all hit threes and are just obviously the stars of the team, and you could have 6 guys who could all make an all-defensive team at some point in their career, and you have probably 5 guys who could be an all-star, then to have guys off the bench who can just provide support to them is so incredibly valuable. We've seen it with the Warriors before, where they had 5 amazing starters but had absolutely no bench. And even when they won championships, their bench depth was a concern for them all through those dynasty runs. And for the Celtics to have 5 quality starters, a 6th man off the bench who could win 6th man of the year, whether that be Al Horford or whether it be Derek White, and then to have guys off the bench in Sam Hauser, Peyton Pritchard, even Luke Cornett, who can all score the ball efficiently and effectively, that provides a huge advantage upon competition, some of which is teams who have traded most of their bench depth to get those 5 starters or even 3 to 4 starters. Even if you look at the Milwaukee Bucks, who are the Boston Celtics' prime competition in the Eastern Conference this year, they only have 2 guys over 20 points, and they only have 4 guys over that 10-point threshold. Even if you look at a guy like Kristaps Porzingis, who has been their 3rd option for the Celtics, he is averaging around 19 points per game or 20 points a game, and Bobby Portis is the Bucks' 3rd option, and he's averaging only 12 a game. Chris Middleton is thought of to be the 3rd scoring star on this team, having averaged over 20 points a game numerous times throughout his career. But as Dame and Giannis have tried to gel together, his scoring has taken such a backseat that he's now the 4th highest scoring player on this team in only 18.9 minutes a night, and he's only averaging 11.4 points per game and is only shooting 32% from 3, while Damian Lillard is shooting 26.9% from 3. Something that I've noticed is that the Boston Celtics also have above average 3-point shooters in their lineup. They have Sam Hauser shooting 47% off the bench. They have Derek White shooting 41%. Kristaps Porzingis shooting 40% from the center position. Jason Tatum is above average from 3 at 39%. And then Drew Holiday and Jaylen Brown are both at 36% from 3, which are above average numbers if the NBA average from 3 is about 35 to 36%. If you look at the Milwaukee Bucks, who, again, like I said before, are the main competition to the Celtics in the Eastern Conference, of their main players that actually play consistent minutes, Malik Beasley is the only guy that's above average, and he's shooting about 40.8% from 3. Brook Lopez is shooting right around average at 35%, and then Chris Middleton, Bobby Portis, Damian Lillard, and Giannis Antetokounmpo are all shooting 32% or below. Damian Lillard has always been around a 38% plus 3-point shooter, and this year he's sitting at only 26.9%. And even Giannis, who has worked on improving his 3-point shot, is struggling this year, shooting around that same percentage, actually shooting only 25% from 3. So if you look at the Celtics, they have a deep team and are efficient in all aspects of the game. They have a lot of guys that can shoot. They have a lot of guys that can play make. They have a lot of guys that can rebound even from the guard positions. And they have guys from 1 through 5 and multiple bench players that can defend so well off the bench and from their starting lineup. And for the Celtics to make a deep playoff run, they're going to need all of these pieces to click together. And one thing that I'm going to say that they have the leg up on the Milwaukee Bucks in is that during this little probationary period of their new players trying to gel with their current systems and stuff, is that the Boston Celtics have come out at 9-2 and are playing above average basketball in so many different ways, and their offensive system looks good, their defense looks above average and elite, and this is with 2 new starters and certain players going to the bench, missing certain pieces in Robert Williams and others, and they're still trying to figure things out. So they've had a couple bad losses, but they're looking still good for a team that has just started playing together this season and has only played 11 games as a unit. With the Bucks, on the other hand, they're a team that has played about the same amount of games, but if you look even at Damian Lillard, he's shooting around 40% from the field, and 26.9% from three, which is not great efficiencies, especially for a guy who's supposed to be a top 3-point guard in the league, and they traded so much for. And Giannis is still putting up above average scoring numbers, but he seems to be doing it less efficiently than he normally has. And part of this has to do with the fact that they have a new coach, but also just they haven't been able to gel together as a team the way that the Celtics have so far. Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis are two guys that have fit in many places where they have gone throughout their NBA careers, and they've done it again in Boston. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have had little to no ego accepting these guys into the lineup, and they've still been able to get theirs and score the ball efficiently. So to see this team gelling this early into the season, I think that this is going to be a very tough team to stop come playoff time when they are fully gelled together and when they are playing at the peaks of their powers. So for right now, this is by far my pick to win the Eastern Conference, and honestly, they have moved into the number one spot for me to win the NBA championship come June of 2024. Anyways, let me know what you think of the Boston Celtics down below in the comments. God bless you all. I hope you have an amazing day. And make sure to subscribe to the channel because I'm trying to hit 500 subscribers by Christmas time. God bless you.